Welcome to the Fit Femme Project Alignment Podcast. It is here that we cultivate and gather all who have been through it in fitness, relationships, careers, lifestyle changes, and unforgettable crucial life pivots trying to achieve their most sovereign selves. We're here to provide you with thought-provoking, detailed stories and information from truly fascinating men and women from all walks of life, professions, generations, and modern-day sagas who speak to their rawest, darkest moments that made them the strong, decisive, humble, helpful, healing people that they are today. We ask them to hold nothing back because life is a multi-dimensional pursuit to be stronger, healthier, and more aligned mentally, emotionally, and physically. Let's go. Welcome back, everybody. It's your favorite day of the week, hump day. It's the middle of the week for all of us, but it's mostly your favorite day of the week because you get to hear me talk. It's so great. Obviously, you guys saw us at our retreat last week, which was in Denver, and it was weirdly hot. But we had so much fun. We got a lot of recordings out of the way, and it was just so much better. Oh my gosh. If you're watching video, you can see Walter. My cute boy. The second I start talking, he decides to show up. We got a lot of recordings out of the way, and it was just so great because we're able to do that in person, and it just really changes it for me. It makes it easier to talk to them. It's a little less robot. Walter. No, sir. Anyway, it was really fun seeing everybody all there together, and you come off of something like that so inspired and energized, and Walter, no. You get so inspired because we were shooting around ideas, inspiration, and motivation for each other. It's just such a great group. I'm just so lucky to be a part of it, and lucky that I got to see all the people that I did. And we did do that hiking trip, which was it was so hot. You're just closer to the sun, and I guess that makes a difference. But I just didn't think that, being, a mile high over sea level, that's why Denver's called the Mile High City, if you didn't know. I didn't think that it would be hotter. I think it's supposed to be colder, right? Which it technically is, Walter. But, so right off of that retreat, I went straight to Omaha because it's a really quick flight over there, and it was my dad's 60th birthday, so we were doing a surprise party for him. Oh my God, Walter, no, I can't focus. We were doing a surprise birthday party for him, and he was very surprised, to say the least, although I popped out at the wrong moment because, when you surprise somebody, you want them to be like, what? Oh my God, and freak out and all that stuff. But I popped out too soon because he was still overwhelmed by the surprise in general, that when he saw me, he was just like, okay. He thought I was upset over that. I was like, no, I'm not. It was bad timing on my part. But we did it at a winery, which who knew Omaha or Nebraska even had wineries. They had pretty decent wine, not going to lie, but it had a beautiful view, which is all that matters for a winery, right? But I spent so much time with my little baby nieces. My middle brother has these girls who are just to die for. You don't think you want kids until you're around those ones. Even in their bad moments, it's just different, They're just little angels. And Giselle, hi, I hope you're listening. Their mother, she's an excellent mother, and there was one day where the littlest one, she's little. She's just now crawling. She's teething, so she was crying nearly all day. And man, Giselle really kept her cool. She's such a good mom, and she's just so compassionate, knowing what her little baby's going through. So she kept her cool, and she knew. She expressed that she was woo, stressful day. I gotta calm down and unwind and all that. But she she's just such a good human in general. So I'm not surprised that she's that good of a mother. Plus, anyway, enough about that. So yeah, it was just really great seeing them. And, they're so little to where they're now remembering me just enough. So it was just so heartwarming to hear them they call me Auntie KK. Katelynn's kind of a long name for a baby, right? And plus it's unique and cute, just like me. So yeah, it was a really long week for me. And so I traveled longer than the other girls in the group. And, I did my check-in on Monday with Lindsay, and I could have, we talked about how when trips are coming up on a week long, that it's just important to really schedule at least more than one workout, because that's all I did was just one workout. And she was right, obviously. Why wouldn't she be wrong? Just making that a priority, because I did really well on my nutrition. There were some wonky days for sure, especially with the days I was on a plane. But, when it comes to workouts, I could have done a little bit better on that. But, if we're going to throw out an excuse, I was really tired. The 2 days I was in Nebraska, well, I was there for 3 days, but 2 of those days I slept in till like 10 o'clock. Who knew I could do that? So it was just a lot of like recovering, and no night there while I was gone was a good night's sleep. It was like really tossy and turny, and you know how it goes. So, so it was a really good week and really fulfilling. And I actually didn't see my mom. I always stay with my mom when I'm there. And I didn't see her this time at all. I stayed with my brother and his wife. And because, 1, I was there for my dad's birthday. And 2, she's actually coming here tomorrow. Well, for you listening, it's actually today. So I get to see my mom and my stepdad for, about a week. So I've been running around with my head cut off these past 2 days, like just trying to get everything prepared, mostly clean, because I know my mother, and making sure she has a very comfy bed. That's top priority. And my mom, you guys will appreciate this. I called her yesterday, and because I wanted to plan out some dinners, because I just know my mom, she just doesn't, this is going to sound bad, but she just doesn't eat. Or when she does, she eats, but she eats so healthy and so clean. Not because, 1, she wants to, because of the obvious reasons we can all think of. But 2, it's just so impactful on her health, so much more than it was, when she was my age. And so her body is just so sensitive to a lot of stuff. And she's constantly learning about it, which is kind of, I imagine, stressful on her end, but also on my end. When I go visit or I call, there's always some new development of, well, I took this out of my diet and now I put this back in, or I'm not eating this anymore, or there's always something because of like a medical reason, or and it's always in good with good motives. So it's just always interesting. So I called her and I was like, all right, what's it now? And right now she's only eating fish. She was never much of a big meat eater. The past several years, she would do chicken, but not a lot of meat in general. So she's eating a lot of fish and fruits and veggies, which has always been the staple. She's never been much of a carb person. Still trying to get her on that, and she knows it too. But she's just trying to get her carbs through fruits and vegetables, which who can blame her? should do that. And so it was just funny listening to her of all the things that she needs to eat. And we need to go to Whole Foods when we get in town, because I have to have this specific brand of this specific yogurt and this organic, like it's always organic, nothing not organic. And which I don't blame her. I'm riding that train, starting to get on it a little bit more these days. But she's like, I have to have this specific thing and this specific thing, and they're so expensive. I'm like, yeah, as good of a host as I want to be, you're going to buy that yourself. But I'm just looking forward to it, so I can learn a lot from my mother. We all can. Oh, that reminds me. I'm going to try, fingers crossed, I'm going to try to interview. Oh, Walter. Oh, every time. I'm going to try and interview her about her story, because she has an incredible story of really overcoming a lot of Western medicine things that did her wrong in the past 20, 30 years. She struggled with, anxiety and depression. I think it was mostly postpartum depression and a lot of extreme hormonal imbalances, and just her body just not working. And, the struggle she went through with doctors and no one believing her, and the bad doctors that she went to that were prescribing her just the worst thing. And, there's just so much to this story, and it's so inspiring to those who might be going through something similar, or have gone through something like that, or just education in general for when, God forbid, we ever come across the same thing or this situation with a doctor, stuff like that. But my mother is I love and respect her so much, because of all that she's gone through, I'm not even doing it justice, of all that she's gone through, being the woman that she is and the mother that she was to me and my brothers growing up, I would have never known that she went through what she went through, because she could hold it together like nobody's business. And so it was just, she has a lot of class and a lot of grace. And, she may not have needed to hide it as much, or I don't know, but that's for her to work through. But I'm just hoping that she will agree to it. I'll kind of secretly start recording and then see what she says, just so because she's really shy and she's really introverted. So fingers crossed that she agrees to that. So yeah, one thing I wanted to recap here was that if you haven't already found out or heard from our, let's see, 2 episodes ago, the last Minisode, we announced that we're doing our group coaching. It's such a long time coming, I feel, even though this is our 2nd year. It just feels like we've been around for a billion years. But we are all so excited for this. And, I don't have a hand in it. I'm not a coach. And so I'm not developing it. I'm not doing anything for it other than talking about it. So, and I just hear the little tidbits of what they're working on in our meetings, and just knowing how beneficial group coaching can be for everyone in general. It's a game changer, y'all. Cause, our coaching is, a high ticket item, and, you get what you pay for, literally. But you also, have to put in the work to get what you pay for. Side note, asterisk at the bottom. So with the group coaching, it's not that there's going to be less valuable information or less helpful. That group coaching, you're going to be there in a community of people similar to yourself, smaller groups. I think they said about a dozen or so or less people in each group. And that will offer you still an intimate experience, not quite as intimate as, one-on-one coaching would offer. But you get that community aspect. You get a budget-friendly option. And I know that a lot of people can thrive in a community group. And there's that element of you get the accountability as well, because that's what I need mostly. And I love the one-on-one experience that I'm getting with Lindsay. But if I were in a position where I needed to cut down on costs, but it was still a top priority for me, this is a perfect option in that scenario. And some people, they don't want the one-on-one. They just want, the general guidelines because they want to do it themselves. Whatever it is for you. And, I've tried so many things. I've tried group coaching. I've tried downloading the app. I've tried, just the 8-week program. Somebody emailed me, I've tried a lot. So don't feel shameful about doing that, because you never know what will hit. Right. And there comes to a point, too, where you have to do the work and you have to learn to stay disciplined and create better habits to keep your disciplined and to, keep that snowball effect going with your goals. So there's that element. But then again, the other element, too, like I said, is you just never know what will stick and what works for you. Is it group coaching? Is it one-on-one? Is it listening to this awesome podcast? You just never know. So stay tuned for that. We're just really, really, really excited about it, and it's just going to be an absolute game changer. So one thing I wanted to talk about today, kind of our little main motivational topic that kind of struck me earlier. I was actually listening to a different podcast on, doesn't matter, I guess. I was listening on Spotify, but it was on the plane coming back home, and it was late, and it's this podcast called, what's it called? Something Secrets. This is not coming to me. But yeah, it's about the interviewer, Danny. She interviews just people. It doesn't have to be anybody of note, but these people with these family secrets. I think that's the actual name of the podcast. But she talks to people who, have secrets they keep to themselves and haven't told anybody, and the effect of that, or the secrets that they find out about their family. And she was interviewing this fellow who, he was struggling with major anxiety and depression in the 1970s or 1980s and 1990s, and just his journey on all that. And, back then it was really not heard of or well talked about or anything like that. So his journey along that, and one of the things he was talking about was all the shoulds that he had on his mind, like I should do this. And he basically said that your shoulds are toxic. And that just hit me because it's so true. We should work out. We should eat healthy. We should drink our water. I should go to the gym. Anything that you can think of that you should do, but you just don't do it. Why do we do that? And I believe that this guy, I can't remember his name, was correct. That our shoulds are toxic because it puts an unnecessary pressure on ourselves. It has that element of shame and guilt that I should work out, and then you just feel guilty that you're not, and you'd rather sit on the couch, right? And we've all been there. We've all been there that I should work out, I should not order this, but I should order that on the menu. And it turns into that, that cycle of toxic thinking of what you should do. And where has that ever gotten you? Probably nowhere good or nowhere for good, right? We want to stay in that healthy lifestyle, that fit lifestyle, that healthy body forever. That's the goal, right? But we find ourselves constantly yo-yoing or trying, 800 different things, which, like I said, there's an element of that where it's okay and you're searching for what you need, but also there comes a time when you do have to buckle down and do the work and educate yourself on how to develop good habits and habits that sustain you for life, and how to make those habits easier on yourself, and they become second nature. And there's also that part of societal pressure, right? We scroll through Instagram or TikTok and we see, how to, you snatch your waist, and this is what you should do at the gym, or, you should be eating all organic raw food and no red meat because of this horrible thing that happened to somebody when they ate red meat. Like, oh, I should do this. Well, then I should do that. Well, somebody said over here that I should do this, and you get all this conflicting information, and it just is just so overwhelming for your brain, and you start to turn into somebody that's not you. And that unauthentic person begins to come out because you should wear this outfit, or you should do this workout, or you should not eat this. And you know what? Stop all that right now. Because that is just adding to the mess. It's adding to your anxiety. It's adding to your shoulds, your list of shoulds. And it's just so wrong. Your shoulds should become your musts. I heard this somewhere else. I can't remember what podcast or TED Talk I was listening to, but it's about changing, like, okay, then what do I do, right? It's about changing the self-talk, right? What you're telling yourself and the pressure you're putting on yourself. And words are so powerful. Words are the most powerful thing that we have to ourselves. So use it for good. Use it to benefit yourself. So if you feel yourself saying, I should work out, I should go to the gym, I should do something, whatever it is for you. Let's use gym, right? I should go to the gym. Well, I must go to the gym. I must do this because this is what I've always wanted. It's what I've wanted ever since something. And now that I must do it, you kind of feel that lightness come, right? You feel the weight lift off your shoulders, and you can navigate life so much easier when it becomes your must. I must, transform my health. I must lose weight because my cholesterol is too, whatever it is for you, and you can determine that yourself. So next time, and it feels so tacky when you kind of retell yourself something. You kind of like back that up and say, oh no, actually I want to go to the gym. I must go to the gym. And a want and must just feel so different. And then, like we've talked about before, it starts to change that brain chemistry, right? It starts to say like, oh, I actually like going to the gym. I like that feeling of lifting, heavy shit and throwing it around. Or I like eating, this healthy, what I know to be healthy item. I like counting my macros. I like it because I must do it, right? So I just think that just really resonated with me when I heard it, because we as a society put so much pressure on ourselves and then, other people, for those who are in business or trying to get more clicks and likes, and they have that clickbait lines that say, 5 things you should be doing in the gym, 5 things you should be eating to lose 10 pounds this month. Like, no, just ignore that. Ignore it and move on. Find what works for you. And guess what? It takes time, it takes effort, it takes discipline, and it mostly takes curiosity. And that's what big thing I want to point out is that curiosity, again, also takes that pressure off of yourself to, I must do this. I gotta, all this stuff I gotta do. And, I gotta listen to everybody that is giving me all this advice that sounds good, but I don't know, one thing at a time for one. And just taking it easy and giving yourself a lot of grace as you go through this process. And the biggest part of the process, like anybody will tell you when they are doing a triathlon or a bodybuilding competition or anything just like that, they will say that the hardest part is up here, right? The mentality, my mind and the mental aspect of overcoming this challenge, right? So that begins with the things you tell yourself. And we'll rehash this topic, I don't know how many times over the life of this podcast. It'll be forever, because the day that this podcast goes away, it'll be the day I die. Mark my words. Where was I going with that? But I will rehash this topic of saying, like, the stories that you tell yourself, and just pay attention to what you're thinking, and that starts that self-awareness journey of how you're talking to yourself. And how many times a day do you feel, I should do this and I should do that, blah 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 blah. Change it. I remember going through that process myself, because I had heard this what I'm talking about. I heard it in like some TED Talk years and years ago, and I was just like, that just sounds so much better. It just sounds so much easier to say to myself, and it again takes away the weight off of my shoulders of like, I must do that, and it just, every time I would think, I got a gym, I gotta go, like I should do it, and I'll hate myself if I don't, or something dumb like that. And I just was like, I don't really like talking to myself like that. So why don't I just say, I really like going to the gym. And then, when I go and I remember I would go and work out, and I would be done driving home, and I would remember specifically to tell myself that, wow, I feel really good. Like telling myself and saying it somewhat, whether it's mentally out loud or literally out loud, noting how I felt and how proud of myself I felt, and physically how I felt when I did something that I wanted to go do because it aligns with my goals, right? And so that begins to, again, change that brain chemistry, and it makes it easier for the next time that I need to go to the gym or eat something, that those decisions and me physically going and doing these things becomes so much easier. And there are days like for me today, literally, I slept in a little bit. Well, honestly, not that much. I was going to get up at 6:30 and Mark came in, woke me up, and I'm like, I slept finally so good that I just got to keep that train rolling. We've all been there. And, all I'm thinking about in and out of sleep for the next hour, 45 minutes, was just, I want to get up and go to the gym. I want to get this done before the rest of my day, because it makes things so much easier. But my sleep, but this feels so good. I could just keep going. And eventually I just you just got to open your eyeballs, right? And I said, I want to go to the gym because I know I would regret not getting it done earlier. And thank God I did it, and I did a shorter workout. I was going to do I switched it up. I was like, you know what? I really don't feel like doing this right now. And I'm running a little short on time because I slept in a little longer than I wanted to or intended to. So I said, hey, thankfully, Lindsay loves me and gave me a shorter workout to do. It was just a quick circuit workout, smashed it out, and I got it done. And I'm like, wow, I'm so glad I did that, because the day I've had so far, I tell you, it's been slammed to the bone, and I don't know what that means, but you get it. So that's just actually an actual perfect example, really, of that honestly, I didn't feel like going this morning, and motivation's not always going to be there. But because I've trained my brain into thinking about, you'd be so happy once you do this, how good you feel. Remember that. Remember the day that you're going to have today. It might get kind of busy. How much in the past when you would pressure yourself to work out in the afternoon, it never really worked for you. So let's get up. Let's get okay, I got this. So that's my big spiel here, that I want to encourage and impart my wisdom into your ears. So I hope it helps. But I just can never believe that 26 minutes actually just goes by so fast. Boy, can I talk. So that's all I really have for you today for today's Minisode. Again, if you have any thoughts, questions, you need advice, you need help, please email us. We want to answer these live at some point, so I really want to gather up a ton of these, so it might be a little while before we actually do this. So give us an email, or shoot us an email. You'll see it at the bottom there and email us any kind of the questions that you have. It might sound stupid. It's not. Trust me, because we've all been at square one. We've all been at square -20. So let's just hear it, and we want to spread our wings and spread our influence, deeper and deeper into this world as best as we can, because we love what we do, and we want to spread that to the world and make the world a better place, because what does it need? A better place. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Stay tuned for next week's episode. I don't think I have any more news, but yeah, stay tuned for that coaching, the group coaching. That'll be epic. Until then, y'all, you have a lovely, lovely rest of the week. Bye. Thanks for listening to the FFP Alignment Podcast. Please support us by downloading, rating, and recommending us to your friends and family. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at the FitFemme Project. That's FITFEMME Project. And for those of you looking to find their essential balance of lifestyle and fitness, book a free consult by going to thefitfemmeproject.com. That's FITFEMME Project.com and click Apply Now. Until next time, this is the FitFemme Project Alignment Podcast.